Da 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 da
It's going down on a Thursday. You know what's up. I can't even read mine.
You dropped it.
Try to go double time.
Is that our theme song?
It was almost like a drum and bass. Right?
What's up, guys? All right, we're here.
I have no idea what I just did,
All right.
which is nothing.
Well, as you can tell, this is the first episode.
Hey,
wait, no, I guess
that was
what
a
is this, the
great
third episode?
beatbox / melody.
Yeah.
And
doing great.
Desi was just about to come in with a hook.
And you did
Okay.
some weird shit.
What?
You spazzed out.
I know. I was
stopped
trying
rapping.
to double time. I was because I was like, I was trying to
It
go.
didn't work.
his
Go
drum
real
and
drum
bass.
and
I was trying to
bass.
add the 32
the drum roll.
seconds. Yeah.
All right. Anyways,
Nice hands, Blake.
so what's up, guys? I'll pull the reins in here. So we're all coming together here. You want to start this off, Nathan? Tell us a little more
Sunday?
about why
Dude,
we're
I'm so
here. Or,
excited.
sorry, Sunday.
Nathan.
Sure.
Who's Nathan? I know Sunday.
Yeah.
Why
okay.
are we here?
So Blake and I have a podcast called More Than Meets the Mic, and Desi and Jackson, two of our best friends, have with the four of us have come together with a really cool concept that we're tentatively calling Fantasy Factory. Fantasy Factory. Rob Dyrdek had a MTV show back in the 90s, 2000s,
2000s.
where he had an amazing warehouse space with all this cool stuff: a zip line, a hot tub, a cold plunge,
didn't have
a
any of
skate
that shit.
park, all kind of cool stuff. Whatever he had, and
He had like a skate ramp.
He had it all.
He had a music studio.
music studio.
Yeah, this is
He had a
before
bunch of
this is before
brands.
Andrew Huberman. So I
There you
don't
go.
think he had
Okay,
a
no cold plunge, but you get the idea. Amazing spot, and we've come together and decided, hey, we want to do something similar. We want to have a mansion in Las Vegas where we can have all the things that I just mentioned and more. And essentially, there's going to be a lot of benefits to having a space like that in somewhere like Las Vegas. But additionally, we have this podcast together. All four of us will be on the podcast now instead of just Blake and I. And the intention of the podcast is threefold. One is accountability, so that we can get together every week, be in proximity of each other, help each other out, just stay on track to making this mansion concept happen. Number two is just to document the process, to be able to say, okay, Desi has her music career, and Blake has his music career, and Jackson as a business owner, me as a business owner, a music artist, and all the different things that we do to be able to document that process. And then third is networking. We're going to bring on other people, and we're going to ask them questions. Hey, how do we obtain the right location? A place that's a mansion that has all the boxes checked that we want, but also that we can run a business out of legally and have all the right ducks in a row for that. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
and we're going to have a lot of fun in this process because, like, what better to do than have a mansion where we can party, have fun, run businesses, run our teams from, have music there, and all the great things that we could do in that space.
Yeah, and I think what's so exciting about a podcast too, and what made me really come up with the idea of like documenting this process was, when I launched my initial channel, Passion Toolbox on TikTok, I was able to scale that to, 14 million views a month. And the formula I used was teaching marketing through storytelling, right? So throughout this process, we want to be able to document what we're doing to create what we're trying to create, but tell that in a way where it's not like dry and boring, but actually interesting, and you can follow along on the journey and be part of the journey. Like if you're watching this and you have ideas on how we can solve the problems we talk about, let us know in the comments or reach out to us, right? And, when you look at the biggest benefit of a podcast, it's not even if this gets a single view, it's the guests you're able to bring on, the connections you're able to make. And I think what makes a network powerful is when you're networking with the goal of solving your restraint. So whatever the biggest thing is that you need to overcome in your business or brand, in music, whatever it is to get what you want, you need to put 100% of your focus in the biggest domino, essentially, right? And so I think this show can be a really good opportunity to just bring on the people that can solve whatever our obstacles are. If it's finding a place, we interview a realtor that comes in and shows us how to get like the coolest spot in Vegas, right? If it's, you know, like we need to fundraise, we need to come up with money. Well, here's what I'm doing in my business. I'm missing email marketing. Why don't we bring on an email marketer and learn what to do there, right? And we can just bring on whatever each of us need and then tell our stories through our own experience with what we're doing. And you can kind of go on these side journeys with each of us that interest you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's exciting about this is that if you are listening to this, like I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and what's going to be cool and different about this podcast is you're going to go in real life in real time with us while we're going through this. So any trials and tribulations that we go through, you're going to hear about them in time. When we make good moves, you're going to hear about them in time. You're going to see us actually move instead of us telling the story of how we did something or the tactics that we may or may not have used, which is why people usually get on podcasts, is to learn some sort of framework that has made someone $1 million that might not even work anymore because they might have done it like 10 or 12 or 15 years ago. This is literally real in time, and all of us have different strengths in this room, and this is why this is cool, because there's 4 different people with different personalities with different strengths sitting in one room that's trying to come together for one idea. And so you're going to learn a lot about our different personalities and why we're here and all of our different goals and how they all come together into one.
My strengths are my forearms.
And my strengths is my booty.
Well,
but
I think a good place to start is maybe each of us go one by one and say who we are, why we're here, and what we want to get out of it, and then maybe like what we want from the space.
And maybe our strengths, what we think our strengths are, or
love it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Why don't we start? We're starting with Blake.
Starting with Blake.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was like everybody was talking about the podcast and like how this was like coming together, and like I was like, oh, what am I gonna say? But it was like everybody already said it, everything. So, but yeah, no, I think it's awesome. I was gonna say exactly, kind of just to repeat what Desi was saying. But it's like, yeah, it's cool because we had this podcast and it was awesome. But I think this one, we have an actual direction and a vision and a goal behind this, which is cool. And it's something tangible. And we can also get the other benefits out of the same thing that we were doing before. And there's just more people in the pot. And like, you know, we can utilize each other's strengths.
It's some powerhouses, if I may add.
It is a powerhouse.
So tell people about what you do with Last Friday.
So yeah, I started the biggest open mic in Las Vegas. With Desi helps run this as well. And it basically started in my living room, and I just kind of invited over because I produce people for a living. And so I invited over all my clients, and I was like, why not just all of us hang out one time a month, see what happens? And so that turned in from like people just listening to songs in the studio to then we had to move to the living room because it got too big. And then people started taking the mic and performing. And then we moved to a bigger house and built a stage on the, like in our living room. Our living room still is a stage. And it's like, yeah, usually people have TVs and couches in their living room and stuff. We have a stage with like a backdrop and a drum kit. It's cool. So yeah, and we got that. It's just honestly word of mouth, and we got like 300 people there. Cops came, and they like we had to get a venue, and I just kind of had to learn how to do business. Like, and that's how I started. I had no idea how to run a whole company. I just did clients, and that was it. But so I was like, okay, I have like a lot to learn. But it was cool. It helped me learn, and then honestly meet a lot of you amazing people through that. And yeah, I met you through the other thing.
It was like an artist collective event or something.
But I feel like that had to do with me just networking and knowing people from this Last Friday. Yeah. And then Desi, like, also like Cam introduced me kind of to you, and I met you around that time. And so, and then you introduced me to Sunday. So it's honestly facilitated a lot of cool resources already just throwing this event. But so, yeah, we throw events. We've gotten up to 700 people at some of our events and stuff. But we average lower than that a little bit, but
I said, I love your events. I really think you guys, like when I went to it, I was really impressed because there's one thing to like throw an event where you have a bunch of artists that are all supposed to bring people out, but people are just kind of there for the artists they're there to see. what you guys have done a really good job of is actually building a community,
Right.
right? Where everyone there is actively supporting everyone and invested in each other, which I think is rare because a lot of times, especially in the music industry, a lot of people act a certain way because they want something from you.
Right.
And they're trying to climb their way up and survive.
Right.
Right. Versus I think you guys have done it in a way where it's like, it really feels like everyone's supporting people because you,
For
lead,
sure.
you lead through example.
For sure. I mean, of course, there's still some of that. You know, people are like,
Of course.
get me on the stage. Like,
Yeah.
I deserve to be on the stage. And it's
But
like,
I think you've protected your community in a way where most of that is being put onto you and not
Right.
like it doesn't affect the show.
right.
You know what I mean?
For sure. No, mostly it's for like the aspect of, yo, if like we'll put you on if we see you in the crowd going around networking, like meeting people. That's the whole point. Is I wanted to recreate what was happening and all the crazy people I was meeting through me just throwing it. And I was like, dude, there's some dope people that are showing up to these events. And I wanted that to kind of like go off. And also the like ability to seeing artists go from so like maybe just starting out, maybe their very first performance on the stage. And I was like, oh, like kind of hurts my ears to hear some of this stuff. And then to come 3 or 4 months later and they came every single month and they like were,
better.
I just saw them blossom and I was like, wait, this person's a fucking star. Like what? It like blew
You know
my
what
mind.
it reminds me of is, you know that show Kill Tony?
No.
You should check it out. It's a really popular comedy show where they basically bring up comedians and they do like a minute-long set and then they just interview them a little.
Okay.
And like this show is like literally like launch careers.
Okay.
Right? And you guys kind of basically have that format but for music, right? Where you give
Nice.
each one a chance, but it's like it keeps it's nice, right? Like it just feels like you do it really well in a way where it like I feel like other places try to force it.
Yeah, I
do.
do remember hearing some stories of different like hip hop groups from back in the day, and they would say, "Oh yeah, everyone went to this studio or everyone went to this venue, and that just launched careers." And 100%, it could be a situation where 2, 3, 5 years from now, you're like, "Oh, that artist, that artist, that artist, that artist, that artist, they all performed at last Friday back before they were big."
Well, especially in the music industry, it's literally just who you know.
Right.
Right? Like
Right.
I was able to do stadiums literally just off of knowing the right people. It had
It's
nothing to
all
do with
network.
my talent or brand or anything. Just I knew the right person.
Right.
Yeah, like how many streams
Right.
did you have?
I had like 400 monthly listeners.
And you performed in front of how many people?
Like 20,000 all across Europe.
Yeah, Jackson,
Crazy.
tell everybody about you. Like, who are you?
Yeah, so a little about me. So I started off like in college. I was, just kind of freestyling with my friends as a joke because we sucked. And then we like accidentally got good because we just did it so much that we had fun with it. And then, I've also always really had two main loves. It's like music and business. And am I supposed to look at this camera?
No, you're good. You
All right,
just
just
look
look
at
at
us.
each other.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
can't break the fourth wall, okay?
Yeah, but
we're just sitting in here,
but yeah,
conversing
basically,
amongst each other.
Since I had these loves for these two areas, I was always like, okay, let me try to launch a business so I can go do music, right? So
Right.
in college, I launched an Amazon brand. I scaled it to 20 grand a month. I dropped out of college and I used that to fund doing music. So I was able to, I opened up for Joyner Lucas, Waka Flocka.
Damn. Okay, I didn't know
Riff Raff.
that.
Like
That's
I gotta
crazy.
I gotta do some cool
Riff
stuff.
Raff?
Riff Raff. Dude,
Damn, like,
everyone's opened up for Riff Raff.
Don't my Jordans.
Like, yeah, but yeah, because you could just like pay to play with a lot of these artists. So I'm like, let me go
Right.
make a bunch of money over here, and I can just get these opening slots
Right.
and get to just have fun, right?
For sure.
And I was able to play a festival in Cuba in front of like 6,000 people.
Nice.
And then my business collapsed and I lost everything, right? So I had to build it back up, and I spent the next 5 years really just trying to put the pieces together. Was able to scale that TikTok channel I mentioned to you to the point I was doing 14 million views a month. And then on the back of that, got the right network connections to meet another DJ that I started touring with. And then that's who I ended up being able to, that's how I lined up the opportunities to actually tour Europe, ironically with the Backstreet Boys, which I didn't even know they were still around, to
crazy.
be
So
honest. But
funny.
then like, we're literally doing these like 20,000 person stadiums, Paris, Portugal, Spain, like,
So fun.
and it just felt like I checked the box of what I was seeking for, right? And so the problem was we were like not making any money. Right, it's so hard to make money in the music industry just because it's a winner take all game, right? The top 1% of the 1% make 99% of the money, and then they save the rest for the people they're trying to bring up. That's why it's literally just about who you know. right?
Right.
And so I realized that, and I'm like, okay, now it's time to go all in on business. Decided to make the pivot. Ended up getting connected with, Nathan, and now we're really through Desi. And now we're really trying to just build a real business that helps, entrepreneurs, specifically coaches and consultants, scale their business. And I want to use the funds of that to create this space, and then, maybe inevitably hopping back in music. But, I think it would be cool to even just work
Not
with you.
maybe, definitely.
Well, what my idea is, I want to work with you guys to put our own show together, and then I'll go be the tour manager and just be the host and perform when I want, but then be able to feature you guys, and we just have this sick show we could book all across the country. Because taking all these things I'm learning from like these AI scraping tools, I could scrape every single club in the United States and get their contact info and automatically message them at a click of a button.
That would be crazy.
So I can take all the stuff I used to literally tour. I toured for almost 2 years, like a year and a half.
Right.
So I know the playbook. Right. It's just, if we're going to do it, I want to do it right. And I want to do it without having to make money off of it. I want it to just be about this amazing experience that we fund on the backbone of our businesses.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Right. And so that's why a space that we're creating here is so perfect, because if we have a music studio, a podcast studio, a place for me to host, a sales team, we throw masterminds, you throw your events there. It's just this perfect community that encompasses everything we're all trying to do, which is, if you're in the music industry, you have to have business in there as well for it to be sustainable. Right. But we can build that on the backbone of other industries where it's much easier to make money.
Right.
I would work with artists and get them millions of streams, but they're making 0.003 cents per stream. And so I would get them 3 million streams, but they had to pay 4 times what it cost that they'll make back.
Right.
Versus if I work with someone.
Playlisting is not like you invest money in playlisting and you make money back.
Right?
It's
and
not
so that's
that.
why, when
you pay money to look cool.
Yeah.
Like basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And
which now I feel like that's kind of devalued at this point.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, for sure. I mean, the playlist, it's all bots.
Now and
it's all robots.
Whatever. I don't
That's
care.
why I think it's about building your own community.
It is.
Right?
100%.
The numbers don't mean shit anymore.
Right.
Because and I think it's also self-awareness about what you want. We talked about that on the episode with you guys. It's like, I didn't worry about becoming famous because that's not what I wanted.
Right.
I wanted to go have fun and travel, and I liked the adrenaline rush of performing.
Right.
And making music with cool people. So I didn't really care about being famous. I looked at people like Justin Bieber and saw like him getting harassed by the paparazzi, and I realized I was like, I don't want that. Right. I'd much rather have something where I can just have fun. And that's what I'm really optimizing for. And so if there's a quicker path there, I'm going to find it. And the quicker path is just knowing the right people.
Right. Well, I mean, building the community is so important because, I mean, just on a scale of versus streams versus community, if you have 1 million streams, you get, say, 0.006 of that off Spotify. It takes... so that's 6,000, I believe, at 1 million streams that you would make. But if you had 300 like niche fans, then
that I'll pay you $100.
Exactly.
Right?
Say you have a merch drop and I'll pay you $100. That's 30 grand right there.
Yeah, like if you looked at everyone that you've invited to Last Friday that's an artist, you could very easily reach out to each one of them and provide them something that's worth at least $100.
For sure.
And chances are a lot of them would take you up on it just because they respect what you've done.
For sure.
Right?
And I think Last Friday and stuff, I have needed to get around business savvy people like you guys just to kind of bounce ideas off of. And then so having this house to kind of throw potentially Last Friday there. I mean, that's one of the things on my list is like at least 400 people could fit in this place, so we could throw Last Friday and other events. But having the ability to like capitalize on maybe a high ticket item with amongst that we could all eat off of would be sick.
And that's the exact point of this podcast. It's to schedule and systematize having these conversations in real time and then discussing what happened. Because the conversation might be, hey, we put a game plan together and you didn't execute it. Why?
Right.
And that conversation can give us good.
I'm in trouble.
It can give us. It helps us take all these like quote unquote
but accountability as well.
Accountability. But like we can take these like esoteric ideas and make them tangible.
Wait.
Right.
Can we talk? Can you please
Is that
tell the
word?
That's so
Maybe
I just
esoteric
used that
word.
yesterday. It's
Just
so
like-
funny.
I'm sorry, my vocabulary is too advanced.
my
for you
God.
guys. I'll-
What does it mean?
just basically broad ideas. Hey,
Yeah.
go do email
could've
marketing.
just
You can
said
run this
that.
strategy. Okay, cool. That's hypothetical.
Yeah, right.
Let's see apply it in real time and document the actual data behind it to see either the validity of it or, just give you a real time example of it being executed so you can retain the information easier.
And that's one of the main concepts that we all have in our lives that come together, which is we do music, but music doesn't make money, and so we've had to figure out how
so
to make
funny.
money.
Oh
All
my
four of
God.
us,
How
and
do
it's
we
not
make
just the four of
money?
us. You sent me a IG reel of one of your buddies who had a great edit. And you said, hey, we should edit our videos like this guy. It's amazing.
Right.
His story's the same thing.
Literally.
I had no money in music. I was great at music, having lots of fun, but had no money. So we're not the only people
No,
that are
It's
experiencing
such an
Definitely.
issue.
and
thing.
luckily, Jackson and I have built our own separate and now combined businesses that are going to be able to do this. And Blake's working on his high ticket item as well. And Desi's just shouldn't ever have to work because she should just be a star. And so everything's
Literally,
great.
Please.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the answer to like the making money in music is through sync. That's for sure the answer. It's you make so
Yeah.
much money getting stuff on commercials and in movies and stuff. You get one good movie and that's like $100K check.
Right.
And
Right,
so,
but is that
once
the
you build up
reason
one,
you went into music to
well,
begin
yeah.
with?
not the
I guess
reason, but
if
it's
you put out
also
an album and there's
like,
a song on it.
if you make cool stuff and there's maybe some type of music genre that they're looking for, and you can hit that through sync, I just know that there's a bunch of money in that. So
Right.
yeah, of course, making it the reason that you do music to make money is like we would all love to be just touring artists that are getting paid to
Yeah.
perform.
Well,
And make
that's
music,
why my
right?
whole idea is, okay, why don't me and Nathan go over here and just make a business that produces 150 grand a month, or even
Right.
just 100 grand a month, right? And now we can do whatever the fuck we want in music, and we
Right.
don't have to worry about what it costs. It can be about the expression,
Right.
right? Because I think what happens a lot of times is we get into music and then we try to survive. So in order to survive, it doesn't become about the music anymore. It becomes almost something completely different. When we got in this because we love making music, we love collaborating with people, we love performing and expressing ourselves. And so if we can create a business that allows us to essentially create the funding, now the music can be about the music.
Right.
And not
100%.
not about how do I become famous so I can pay my water bill.
Another thing that I
Damn.
noticed that I always would be really stubborn about is back in the day, you would not get me on a podcast regularly. I go on once, but it was like, no, I'm the musician. I only do that. And if I go on a podcast, then I'm kind of like that dude that couldn't do music successfully, so he did a podcast. And I was always scared of not just focusing on the one thing of being the artist. And that's why I really like Jackson's kind of approach of what are you optimizing for, which we'll talk about as well, because then you know, okay, well, why did I start off doing music? Did I do it because I loved the music? Did I do it because I wanted people to love me and see me, because I had felt like I had a talent, because I just wanted a community? What is it? And then you can reverse engineer that, which is great. So now I'm going to talk about myself.
Right.
Please.
Right.
Here we go.
Please.
Ready?
Yes, we
Okay,
want
we're
to
gonna
hear
talk about myself. My name
Sunday.
is Sunday. And
Yeah.
Yeah, can we
Sunday.
kick him out?
Yeah, exactly. All right.
no, he doesn't know
Let's
people's
just do these
names.
three Kramer shots right here. No.
did you say cranberry shots?
Cranberry shots.
shots?
Ooh, cranberry shots.
Sounds good. My name's Sunday. At the age of 14, I bought some music equipment so that my friend and I could kind of just rap, have fun, make music just for the heck of it. I lived down the street from the high school. So even though I probably shouldn't have been popular, I was popular just by proximity because I lived right next to the high school. And so kids came over. They used to, play pool and ping pong in the basement, maybe drink a little bit. But then we had a recording studio, and next thing you know, I had people coming in. Hey, can I record? Kids I didn't even know. Hey, can I come over and record? I had one of the coolest couples in the school that were like prom king queen vibes. Be like, hey, can we come over to your house? And I was like, oh my God, this is getting crazy. And then next thing you know, this gal came through and she said, hey, can I can I pay you per hour to edit the music for the dance team? And so I realized that it was a business. So I started charging $20 an hour. Next thing you know, I said, hey, I'm getting out of this small town, Portland, Oregon. I'm going to move to LA. So I found a way to hack the system and graduate high school as a junior. Moved to LA when I was 17 and went to music school down there. Got completely crushed down there. I thought I was going to be a famous multimillionaire by 18, 19, 20, 21 at the latest. But I got completely crushed down in LA. Toxic environment, all this crazy stuff. Came back, moved around, had a pretty good career. I worked with Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, Too Short, all these old school West Coast rappers, Mac Dre before he passed away. And everything was really good. I was getting flown around from city to city, state to state, hanging out with people, doing music videos, but I was broke, super broke, as the story goes.
Yeah,
As the story unfolds.
And it was a lot of fun. I had my life scores, if you will, was fun was a 10 and money was a 1 and love and, communicate, all those other things, and health were great, but money was a 1, and that sucks. I was like putting $3 in my gas tank or $2.50 in my gas tank, and just like I knew exactly when I could ride my until like the E-light could go on for exactly this long and not a second more.
I
And
got 25 miles and I gotta get
exactly
gas.
right. I was docking it, right, docking it, and so from there, my manager Violet Brown, who helped Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and will.i.am get their first from Black Eyed Peas get their first record deals back in the day. She was probably like the main powerhouse contact I had, and she told me, hey, you should either get into country music or you should get out of the music industry altogether because you're just too good about, you have a good soul, you have a good heart, and this industry is like cutthroat. It'll destroy you.
I don't like that. I don't like that advice.
Right? I didn't either. But the truth is I kind of hit rock bottom a bit, and I left the music industry, and I won't get into the whole entire story, but some incredibly magic things happen that I can't really explain other than through spiritual terms. And some crazy things happen. Everything lined up. Next thing you know, I built this business now, Coach with Us. And now my money's at a 8 or a 9, and what I would have thought back then would have been a 20 out of 10. Oh my God, I can't imagine I'd be making this much money. But now my fund's like a 4. Well, not anymore because I have you guys. But before I met you guys, my fund was like a 3 or a 4.
Aww.
And so now I have my cool little community.
We're cool.
We're this guy right here. Come on, these guys are way too cool. And so now we're in this situation where we can leverage the monetary resources to build out the dreams that we've always had. And there's a goal that Jackson and I have, because Jackson and his business partner Josh built a business. I'm not gonna say off of our business, but we're working.
We essentially
together.
built a sales machine, so we find leads and sell to them. Mm-hmm. Right, and then we can attach that machine to an offer, which is Nathan's offer.
Sunday's offer.
Sunday's
offer. Sunday.
Need like a name tag.
Yeah, I know,
Sunday.
right?
Right? Literally.
When we sat down, he said, "Do we have assigned seats, or is this a free for all?" So that's the gist of it. And like I mentioned, the concept of all of this is to say, okay, what is going to be the thing that when we're 90 years old and looking back on our lives, that we're going to remember, that we're going to say that was the key, that was the core of my happiness, of my memories, is I was with friends, had fun, we did all this cool stuff, remember the mansion, remember all the funny stories, so on and so forth, and then reverse engineer that into what we can actually create right now, because so often people just don't stop and say, what do I want in life enough to actually be able to do it. That's one. And then two, everyone is trying to do the same thing by themselves. If you have something,
dude.
that part, right?
Yeah.
If you have
It's
like
crazy.
goals, chances are there's another 100,000, if not million or more people that want the same thing. And how many of those people are in your actual geographical proximity who you can team up with and create a team and create a squad, and it's just exponential. Desi, exponential means
Oh, really? Oh, really? You know what, y'all? I got you.
Wait, what does it mean? No.
all right. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the connector of connectors, I introduce to you Desi Marie.
Who's that? What does that mean? No, I'm kidding.
Hashtag,
That
what
was
does that
amazing.
mean?
Hashtag, what does that mean? Yes, I'm so excited to be here. What's up? Yeah, my name is Desi Marie, and I am a singer, songwriter, vocalist, and mental health brand owner. And I moved to Vegas 3 years ago from the DMV. Any East Coasters? Y'all are my babies.
You moved from the DMV.
From the DMV, which, by the way, means DC, Maryland, Virginia.
See, now
Driving
I'm
motor
the one who
vehicle.
doesn't know.
Okay, so
what
DC, Maryland,
something
Virginia.
is.
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and basically when I was a child, I was really fat and looked Mexican and had a really bad accent and had no friends till about I was probably like 15. And my parents were really strict and like didn't let me like go to parties and stuff, so it made me like really not cool because I wasn't allowed to like do anything. And it's like, oh, the weirdo. And it was like,
Did you
that
sneak
was me.
out and go to the parties?
No, because I was like too scared. So I was like literally a goody two shoes my entire life. Like I was too scared to get in trouble. Like I would like literally like get myself in trouble. Like if I did something bad, like I would come to my parents and like ground myself. Like
What?
I was like,
You didn't like rebel?
no.
Okay.
Like I never rebelled. Like I always was like wanted to be good. Like and that's all I wanted to do.
And
I
you
like,
love
still
that. You still
yeah,
are.
no.
It's wholesome.
Kind soul.
Yeah. So I grew up kind of in a like bullying situation if anybody's watching this, and my parents enrolled me in a Christian school when I was young, and I went to a private school, and when I was around like 8 or 9 years old, we had this like Christmas show, and they were auditioning people to sing solos, and I sang Silent Night at like age 8. And for some reason, when I did that, it was like the first time in my entire life, I guess, that I felt like any sort of like happiness and at home. And that dragged on to my middle school and my high school. And in middle school, I joined all the choirs, everything that had to do with music, because music started to be like my outlet. And so in middle school and high school, even when I was like bullied a lot, like music's all I had. And so when I went to high school, I joined this choir, and my choir teacher pulled me aside one day and she was like, hey, you're like really good. Like, I just want you to know that. Like, you can sing, girl. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, haha. And then I took off. Then I was like, oh, I should really like listen to this. And I started to realize that I was good because I started auditioning for all these things and getting into everything basically. And the school musical was coming up, Annie. And I was like, you know what? I've never done a musical. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done acting. I've never done anything. I'm going to audition for this musical. And long story short, I ended up getting casted as Annie, as the lead role, and I'd never done a show in my entire life. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so that led into me being the lead all 4 years of my high school career, which everyone hated me for. If you're in high school, you like hate that girl. That was me. But I found my place and my confidence in musical theater and music, and ever since then, I've been basically singing and performing. I went to college for vocal performance. I've toured with a group that sang in prisons. We put on Les Mis in prisons. I was president of a cappella group that went to the competition for Pitch Perfect. And in all of that, when I graduated school, I always loved entrepreneurship, and I kind of wanted to do my own thing. And I was like, I don't want to work for anybody. And I started learning Facebook ads, and I ended up building a Facebook ads agency when I was like 19 or something, and made a lot of money for being in my kitchen counter, like on my laptop. And I saved a lot of money and was trying to audition for shows and work this entrepreneur thing. All of us, like music wasn't paying me. I had to make money somehow. And so long story short, I packed my bags like 3 years ago, and moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, cross country to pursue my music and entrepreneurial dreams, because I low-key like met a billionaire in a like parking lot, which is like a whole nother story. But yeah, and so now I'm sitting in this chair with these amazing people that I've met throughout networking and just being myself, I guess, and just being around amazing opportunities.
Well, what'd you throw last week?
Oh, yeah. And last week, I just turned 27 for anyone who's listening to this, and I moved here when I was 24. I've done a lot of things. It was 3 years. Last week, I got to live one of like my dreams, like checking out boxes, like you said. I am a singer who's really passionate about entrepreneurship and really passionate about mental health because of my own story. So because of what I went through, like I had to do so much work on my mind to be who I am today, to transform myself into this beautiful, confident woman that's sitting on this chair. Like that was not who I was. I was not meant to be this person. Like I created this person, and I see people every day like so lost and feeling so like stuck in their ways. And I'm like, if you only knew that everything's in your mind and you can control everything, you can literally change your life. It takes so much work and so much pain, but you can do it. And so I've created a brand out of that I associated with my music so I can make money. And still do and still do music. And so last week for my 27th birthday, I threw one of the biggest events I've ever thrown in my life. I partnered with a nonprofit called Positively Arts, and I donated my band to essentially put on a concert about mental health and positivity for people and the youth. And I relaunched my clothing brand that he's wearing.
Right here.
Yes.
Link in bio.
Right there. That's marketing.
It's hot. It's hot. That he's wearing, and it's all positive quotes, and basically just is embracing the fact that you have a choice every single day to change your life. And I threw this event, and guys, I tell you, I kid you not, like I told my friends, I was like, oh, I want to have like 200 people there. Like that's my goal. Like I really think I can do this. I literally had to keep like turning on my RSVP link because too many people RSVP'd for this event, and they capped me at 300 people, and over 300 people RSVP'd, and it was this crazy, beautiful moment where hundreds of people from Las Vegas came out to support music and mental health.
It was awesome.
And it was like I was J-Lo for a night.
That's like that. No, higher than that.
Like
You were J High.
You were
I was
J.
Sorry, J-Lo, I love you. I still get your text messages.
low
from
evaluation.
community.com.
And it was why it was so special to me was because in Vegas, I'm gonna be honest, like I've really like lost parts of myself in Vegas. It's been really hard for me to maneuver the music industry. I was not ready. I'm literally like a sheltered flower that lived in a white picket fence community. You know, I mean, I'll like be honest, like I like didn't have a hard, like I was bullied, but like I went home to like a $500,000 home where I never locked my door, that nothing ever happened to me, and like it was fine, and I was fine, and everything was always fine. And like I came here and I was like, everyone doesn't live like I lived. Like, what is this? Like, I was just so naive, like honestly. And I was just, my world has been rocked by many things, and I've made good and bad decisions, and I lost myself in the music scene because I felt like I had to like fit into all these niches and things, and I'm just a trained vocalist. Like I want to sing, motherfuckers. I don't want to go up there and sing tracks and do all these things and go in the studio and have all these like auto-tuning things. I just want to sing. Like I want to grab a mic and sing live, and I want to like make music. And so that night was the first night that I was like, I'm gonna sing whatever I want. I'm gonna do whatever music I want, however I want, and I'm just gonna be Dez. And that's exactly what it was. I puked out myself to Vegas for one night, and it was great.
And I must say,
we
just
love
because,
that puke.
Yeah, great puke.
I can keep puking.
I must say, because Desi's not going to say it all for herself.
Yeah.
But me moving here and meeting Des was like amazing because yes, she introduced me to half of my entire network, but things that she has brought me to include her like a full backstage experience of her performing at a stadium, national anthem in the middle of the stadium before everything starts, lights, camera, everything amazing. Introducing us to millionaires, movers and shakers around town, bringing me to these crazy events. It's amazing to experience everybody's, and you know, there's things that Blake didn't talk about himself, like incredible artists that he's worked with like, and produced, and stages that he's been on, and it's really an honor to be in this room. It's not a good thing which happened for a lot of years for me, when you're always the looked up to person in the room, where it's like, oh my God, it's you. My producer name used to be Nate Beast. So people would be like, oh my God, it's Nate Beast. Da, 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 da. And I'd just be around all these artists and they'd look up to me because I had connections and I had things going on.
Right.
But when you're the main person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Who were you looking up to?
Exactly. I was looking
Right.
up to nothing.
Dude, honestly, that's why I partner with you, because the problem I had with my business is since I was the main guy, anything that was my weakness became the business's weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Versus if you need people there that can balance out where you're weak and be strong there, and vice versa. Right? And with, like we said earlier, it's like if we're all in a certain extent trying to accomplish the same goal. Right? So if we can all come together and combine our resources, combine our network, combine our experience, it becomes so much easier to accomplish, because 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 4, it equals 100.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the
111.
compound effect of each of our track records combined will give us the leverage we need to solve the problems we're going to have to solve to make this real, because we want to get a spot. This, we're saying we want to do this. It's always takes twice as long as you expect it to, and it's twice as hard as you expect it to.
Right.
Right? So the more we can all come together and collectively attack this, the higher probability it has
Right.
of happening.
Especially when you're doing it by yourself, behind closed doors. But now there's 4 of us and there's a camera and this gets put out into the world. So the more people you tell, this is an interesting thing that Blake and I talked about, which is that on one hand, when you have goals, it's good to just keep it to yourself, because there's something magical about just saying, like, not telling everyone what you're about to do and then just like holding that space. What that can do is it can make it so that when people when you tell someone, you get that dopamine hit,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you feel like you already did it, and you're like, okay, cool. Well, I already got the people going,
dopamine.
oh, that's so cool. You're gonna do this
Right.
thing. Oh, yay,
No.
little doggy did the trick.
Right.
But at the same time, the opposite is also true, where if you keep it to yourself, then no one knows.
can't
And when you
create-
start telling people, the next thing you know, Joe over here knows that you're looking for a mansion, and he ends up talking to a big real estate agent in Las Vegas, and he goes, oh, I actually know these folks. Here, let me pull up
Right.
their Instagram, check out all their amazing content on this podcast, and next thing you know, they reach out to you because you talked about it. So
And that's amplified by Vegas too, because it's like it's got the influence of like an LA or a Miami, but it's a tenth of the size.
Yeah.
Right. And so everyone is literally congregated to this small area. Right. And so everyone knows someone that knows someone. Right. And so whatever it is you need, if you can be specific about what it is and put it out there, especially in Vegas, it's not hard to find that.
Got it.
Right.
For sure.
And especially if we have a podcast where we could literally give them a reason to link up. Come on the pod. We want to interview you about XYZ. But it's doing it in a way where it's not just like asking them the same questions they did on every other podcast they've been on.
Right.
It's in context,
Right.
right? And that's what I think will make it real.
Yeah. See, so Las Vegas, I know you have a low self-esteem because you're right next to very cool Los Angeles. And I know that the whole size matters thing is a thing, but you're smaller, but you're more important sometimes. So just,
I mean,
But everyone from Los Angeles is coming over
Yeah,
to
they're
Vegas
coming
Yeah,
now.
we're
I
the
know,
hot,
right?
we're
Like,
the
yeah.
hotties now.
she's an expensive
Ew.
hoe.
Shit.
She's pretty. She's got the
I feel like
beach,
there's so
but
much,
she's expensive.
so much to build around in Las Vegas too. There's just so much land open for there to be the city to just keep getting bigger and
As long as they keep going
out.
out.
out. Right.
Because there's a lot happening.
Oh yeah, no. I don't want. They don't need to congest any more of what's going on here. There's a lot outside of the city. I mean, you could get from one side of Vegas to the other side in 45 minutes, like with no
Yeah.
traffic.
No, yeah, for
Well,
sure.
It's smaller than people
it's a
think.
Small, it's a small city.
I
for sure.
think I don't know how much time we have left, but I think before we wrap it up, we should talk about, now that we've given people some context, what are we looking for in a space?
Yep,
Right?
100%.
Like for me specifically, I want a place where I can run a sales team. Because if I can have 5 to 10 people in person, that will be what I need to create the 100 to 200 grand a month in revenue that we're trying to hit.
100%.
Festivals.
Right? I think a backyard where we can
Festivals.
throw like
Yeah.
Last Friday events or events like what Desi did, I think would be big, right?
Right.
Obviously a music studio, a podcast studio. We want a cold plunge, a sauna, a pool if we can. But I at least for you guys, what do you want out of a place like this?
Well, the small
why?
mansion is cool. That's so funny. But it's like we have this grandiose vision. I mean, shout out Dan for kind of giving a direction towards the like this 40-acre lot that I have my eye on. And that would be my dream vision, is figuring out if that space works. And then if it is, then figuring out how to get it.
Yeah.
But this would run as a cool concept, having like 4 acres, 3 acres, and big enough to throw like 400 events or 400 people at an event. I mean, I have a whole list of things that I actually wrote down that I need for this. Did everybody bring lists?
Yeah.
Did you guys all have lists, or did you kind of have
I
in the
got
brain?
a mental list.
Got
I mean,
them
I
in the
basically
brain?
just said it.
Yeah, that's.
I just said
matters.
my list.
Yeah.
Dang, mine's
I'm like, I just need a place to run a team. Ideally, like
That's it? That's
like,
all you really-
attached. Just like that's not attached to the like music studio section.
Right.
Like ideally, if it's like a like a lot
Casita or
of places
something.
will have like a house, like a what do you call that?
Casita?
It's like a separate house. with
Yeah,
a house.
casita.
Casita.
Casita? That's
Yeah.
fancy. Yeah, some shit like that,
Casita.
right? Or like a big
Mamacita.
garage that is like soundproof enough that we could have like like an office setup in there. You know what I
Dang,
mean?
and so that like in your craziest, wildest dreams at this.
Well, no, that's
if
what
you
I
just
need.
had the one-
That's what I need is like a non-negotiable, right?
Right.
Craziest wild dreams. I want a float tank. I want a sauna. I
There
want
we
a gym.
go.
I want a
There we
basketball
go.
court.
Let's
I want a
go.
fucking zip line, right? I want to throw masterminds there, so we need a good place that can foster community. Sick art everywhere.
Okay, see, that's
Right?
that's what I'm talking.
That's what I
about.
want for the whole spot. But
For
at least
sure.
for what will facilitate the thing like that to be sustainable is we need cash flow. Right. And we can produce cash flow from our business, right? It's high ticket. So we really just need to sell. Like if we could get a sale a day, we're done. And all I
Right.
got to do to get a sale a day is take my current team and increase their output by basically 5 or 6.
Right.
Right. So if I can have people in person, that alone will double my output just because their proximity, right?
I can like
Right.
go in there and like
Yeah.
cheerlead them and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
literally be like, "Hey guys, good
Yeah.
morning."
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll have Desi there. We'll play good cop, bad cop.
Right.
She'll be the good cop.
We'll sing a duet for them,
And then I'll come in there with a whip, just like, get to work.
No, I feel like I also could be a bad. I feel like
Yeah.
I can get sassy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He saw it. No,
Yeah.
he's
Come in there with
seen
the
a side of
snaps.
me that is.
Yeah.
Yikes.
You're good.
All right,
you're
let's
good.
let's hear your list.
All right,
Blake.
the list. Okay, lots of parking. We need parking. Like that is essential. And
I didn't even think about that.
bro, it's that stuff though. That's like if we don't have a place for people to park, we can't throw events for people to come to.
You
And
need
then
like
the
a shuttle or
neighbors,
something.
huh?
You need like a shuttle or something.
Right, or a little parking garage. That'd
Yeah.
be cool. Right, a shuttle. That's how we would kind of make that other place work when we were
Yeah.
looking at that the other mansion. But central location, I feel like is so important because I don't want have people to drive 40 minutes out of Vegas to come to a place. That just even for me to have to drive somewhere 40 minutes, it's like almost like I don't care. Like I don't care how cool this place
Yeah.
is. I'm not going. I don't want to drive 40 minutes. I'll like stay at home and that's fine. Have the fun. So if I'm even thinking that, I think other people would think that. So central location is super imperative. Ability to hold 400 people for events. Me throwing last Friday, I've kind of made a network of other people that throw events in the community. So not only would we be able to throw your event and last Friday, and if Sunday wanted to have an event and Desi's event, now we have like the EDM scene, we have the
Yeah.
Latin scene, we
Well,
have
I think that's huge,
like,
right? Because one of the big things that we'll really dive into on other episodes of how we're going to make this happen is we have to find ways to monetize this place enough to offset our overhead.
Right.
Because we're
So
not
if-
trying
if
to
we
put
have an
ourselves in
event,
a
if
risky
we have
pace. Yeah.
like events every single weekend, and
Yeah. How much do you think we could make from like a Friday, Saturday events happening situation?
I mean, that's numbers we would have to go over in here because
Yeah.
we have to talk about now event license. We
Yeah.
need to get alcohol license. We need to get, there's all these things we have to get in place to be able to throw
And
these
also
at
it has
our
to be in a
house.
place where we're not going to have issues with HOAs or
Not
rent.
Right.
necessarily though. You can hire companies that have licensing.
Right. Or we could hire that, but so then it's the cost
You just
of the
hire.
company.
You just hire like a
Yeah.
bartender from like a
But-
company that already has that.
Right, but the thing is if we want to monetize this completely, and also it's just probably good for last Friday to have these licenses anyways, it's like might as well like just kind of get whatever we need so that we can hire our own staffing and we can keep most of the profit because and the tips and whatever, because that all adds up. I feel like after so many events.
I just know an alcohol license is it's a hefty.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're throwing like a dozen events a month, at the place, I feel like it's got to make up for it throughout the year. If you're bringing in,
I think it's also the type of events you throw. Like, I think one of the type of events that could be really lucrative for us is like mastermind events.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right? Both for not just making money, but also networking and getting clients. Right? Like, take someone that has like a $30,000 mastermind that they like rent out a yacht for, or rent out a place for, especially in Vegas. That shit's going on.
Right.
Right? And these are the types of people we bring on the pod, build a
sure,
relationship with.
For sure.
Hey, you throw masterminds? We've thought about doing that. Come on the pod and tell us about your experience.
Right. And we'll provide a space for you to like throw an event.
But even if we don't provide the space, just getting them there, you build a network, and they either give you the playbook or the connections to make that a reality.
For sure.
Right?
Well, so podcast studio, making sure we have a podcast studio there, making sure we have a music studio. Music studio, that's super important. A grand piano. I want a grand piano. 2 kitchens would be tight. Casita, like you said, which maybe that could be the 2 kitchens. But
a canopy would be kind of lit by the pool.
That'd be a tree house or like some grandiose.
Yo, a tree house would be crazy.
Like
we'd have to build that shit.
Right, but that'd be sick. We just like go up there and we just sit in the tree house and we game plan like something.
Bake cookies.
Even make cookies.
He's coming.
Yes, let's go. Steam room. Ice bath, minimal Karen neighbors. That's super important.
Minimal Karen.
Because if we have this grandiose space, then we are obviously there's going to be people that are like, you can't be doing this, and like yelling at the cars out front, or like the constant music being played, or some way
neighbors can't be a factor.
Right.
Because if we're worried about that, it kills the whole thing.
Kills it.
Yeah.
Kills it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where maybe just getting a space with enough acreage where it's like, even if you are throwing something, it's spread out enough that like it's not just your property, but then they have a big property. So like, it's spanning the noise over 6 acres instead of like half an acre. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that might be
100%.
something we work up to.
But that's exactly, that's what I'm thinking we work up to,
Yeah.
is that dream space that I've talked to all of you guys about, I have in mind. And actually talked to somebody yesterday that has people that's down to fund it. And so, but it's not going to give the resources away until we have actually a devised like pitch deck, all the logistics. Like there's stuff that I wasn't even thinking about. Like sometimes you can't even build on certain land. Like you have to make sure that the ground is like okay to build certain things.
Like
if we were going to throw a festival, because maybe the metal could seep into the ground,
and then falls.
Exactly. So there's certain things like that, or how much the appraisal is going for, how much these people bought the space originally for, and like why the space is still available, because we're not the first brilliant people to come and be like, oh, we could do something crazy with this. I'm sure other people that are in real estate are like, they have their eye on this place, or they know not to go on this place because of X, Y, and Z, and why maybe that could be. So figuring out all this and stuff, the logistics, and then having this in a package, bringing it to him, and then he would bring it to his friends that he's able to facilitate. I'll make the introductions to you guys. Sunday met him yesterday, but shout out Mike. Mike is awesome.
Love you, Mike.
Yeah, we could get Mike on here too. Mike could talk for hours about stuff. And then I guess, minimum 3 acres. I feel like just based off of what Dan said, because Dan has a place that's around 3 acres, and he says he could fit like 300, 400 people max. So I was like, that's kind of a rough estimate of where we could start before the 40 acres for sure. And that's my list.
What you got? Sunday.
Mine's nice and easy. It's must have permits and permission to legally do business in the space, also events.
Right.
Must be able to have a minimum of 10 people fly in and stay the night for multiple days for masterminds and other reasons like that. Currently, we're already kind of testing this. We're on our sales calls. We're saying, hey, you can buy our program for $9,500, or if you want, you can for 18,000, we'll fly you into Vegas, stay in a mansion, and we'll do a 3-day workshop in addition, in person, shoot your video, etc. And so all of that additional money would go into the monthly into a bank account that would be available for monthly mortgage, down payments, and or rent for the space.
And so you already have like Brennan that you could do that at, or where were you thinking about like?
Yeah,
doing
our friend Brennan is a spot that we could do the test run at until we have a space. But I was just thinking about sticking it in a bank account, and then that could be for down payment, for mortgage, for rent, as opposed to just hurrying up and doing it. But of course, those people need to be fulfilled on as well. So they would fly out. We would put them up probably at Brendan's house, and they would stay there. We would fulfill on them, but then the money would be in a bank account for when we find what we need.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Third one is must have an office, music studio, cozy place to hang indoors, so on and so forth. Setting everything up. No HOA. I have as well. The rest of them are just little personal things. Like I want a key so I can access it 24/7. I don't want someone saying, "Oh no, you can't do this, you can't do that."
Get a thumb padlock.
Yeah, there you go. Must be able to make decisions on design, installations, so on and so forth. So not have a place where it's like, this place is cool, this place is awesome.
But you can't touch anything.
But you can't touch it. Right.
Going to that HOA one, I remember Dan actually saying that since he has a gate inside, like into his house, you have to go through a gate to get inside.
Yeah.
That's actually like a lick to have because cops can't get in. It's like you can't, like literally, like because if you have a house, they can go up and knock on your door and stuff. And so it's kind of he's like kind of the mayor of his own little land right there.
That's a good call.
Yeah. What about you, Desi?
I had no HOA. I have a music studio, of course. I had like practice rooms or a practice room, like where it's like where you just there's like a piano and like it's like insulated and you just like can rehearse like practice rooms like fire. Like I had
That'd be
those in
sick.
college. Yeah,
Recording
and like
booth is
you can
important,
also
too.
I mean that comes with the music studio.
you can also
that's-
teach like lessons out of there and have private lessons and like no one knows what's going on. Like a meeting room for meetings with like coffee and like kombucha bar, like somewhere where it's like if someone comes there for a
Snack
meeting,
bar.
you know exactly what room you're going to, and it's just like that's the meeting room. Like there's a big ass table in there, and if people are in there, you do not walk in there, and you just know what's going down in there. You just know, and there could be like coffee and snacks and kombucha and a little TV, and it could be cute. I had personally for me, I'd love to have a room where I can like run my brand out of and like have equipment and print. And like we could also make money off of that too.
That would
and
be
have
sick.
like
Print
a
shop.
like a print, like a
I
little,
have
like
I have a literally a industrial printer we're not doing anything with that we can use.
Bro.
Yeah, like I'd love
or even
to have
just
I'd
facilitating
love
a
to have, like,
space
a little
for people that
warehouse.
already like have businesses that are around doing stuff with print, and then we just have a space for them.
Right. I just love
That
to have a
would be
warehouse to like run my brand
sick.
out of that I run out of my house. And
I didn't even
like,
think of
And
that.
like bittersweet the fuck out of it, and make it cute.
The guy that we met with yesterday has a print company. So
Right,
Yeah, he
Mike.
does, yeah.
Mike.
So that would be really cool. A podcast room, obviously. Sauna, cold plunge. I would literally love my life if there was a chef in this place. Like,
Yeah, that's
oh
what
my
I was
God,
thinking
bro.
too.
Yeah,
Just like we just have
Like that's on the
breakfast and
top of
lunch
my
every
list,
day.
like high key. Like I'm
Yeah.
just like, please. And this is like completely like selfish and girly, but I'd love to have like a huge ass like closet in there with all my ridiculous outfits and makeup that I could come get ready in before my shows and shit.
Yes.
Like a get ready room.
I love the idea of having a kind of a costume room
Yeah.
so that people can
Like
change
with
in and out.
outfits
Different,
and like
Right.
mirrors
Photo
and like get
booth
ready and like it
style.
could make it could also, if we do have events, it could like second as like a green room so it can make us feel more official, like have somewhere, oh yeah, you can get ready here, you can put your stuff here,
Right.
it's safe, like yeah, and just have like a room for that stuff, and like half the shit can be my clothes, but we can
Right.
hide it.
Or like a
It's fine.
runway stage too. That would be
We're going all
sick.
the
Dude, we
shit.
could throw model events and like
Yeah.
we could just get people, we know a bunch of modeling companies,
Yeah.
have them come out and throw their events there and like a cool mansion. I feel like that'd be sick.
Yeah, so I think that
See, now I'm starting to. This is great that we're having these conversations because now I'm starting to think, okay, it actually does make more sense to bring on an investor as well. Because yes, technically we could be the investors, but if we want to go really big, and having someone who invests specifically on the monetization of the house. And of course, usually investors are in for it for lifestyle as well. It's like, okay, now I'm an angel investor. Do I want to invest in this dusty ass tech company? Do I want to invest in this, this event space because it could be a little bit more fun? Or do I want to invest in this amazing experience that these folks have? They already have their shit together. They already have a podcast about it. They already have businesses surrounding it. They already have their own brands around it.
Yeah.
And why don't we come in? They don't even care about monetizing the space too much for the general space. They have their own things that they're doing as well.
Yeah.
So we keep our whatever the legal term is for creative control and full monetization autonomy of our monetized individual brands and businesses, and they come in, they say, wow, I can see so much potential for this that they don't even want to manage.
Spot.
Yeah, I'll buy the spot and
then work with you guys for you to pay the mortgage.
They'll buy the spot, pay the mortgage, and then they will get a cut of the monetization of the events and different things that go on in there. And potentially, if we get the right person, because a lot of times the best investors are not just people that have the money, but have other resources that can help you as well. They might have the ability to say, oh yeah, let's bring in this modeling agency to do these things. Let's bring in these people want to rent the space for the weekend.
We need to find, if we were going to get an investor, I think it's finding one where it solves the problems they're trying to solve in their current businesses. Right? Because that's the cool thing about what we're doing is it gives us flexibility and diversified resources and diversified credibility and diversified networks.
Well, from some investors that I've met and talked to, a lot of the time when people have reached this level in their career, they're not trying to reach more levels in their career. They just want to have fun and enjoy life. And I feel like a lot of the time they've lost that. And a lot of the people that I've met, and I can tell the story another time, but the one billionaire mentor that I've had in my life that's like changed my life is he just wanted friends. He's like, I can't walk in a room without someone talking to me about money. I don't want to talk about money.
Friends?
Yeah. I don't want,
No.
And he's like, I don't want to talk about business. I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to talk about, I don't want them to ask me to invest in their company. I don't want them to ask me to I want people to know who I am and still know who I am. And I'm fine with telling you, this is what I've accomplished. But I just want to go grab lunch and go
I want
bowling
people that aren't
and,
just being my friend for their own selfish
And a lot of the
reasons.
time
But
when
that's
I would,
all of us,
when I would ask
you know?
him hey, what do you want from me? He's like, I just want you to be my friend. Just ask me to do normal
love
ass
that.
shit. He was like,
Wow.
ask me to go bowling, ask me to go come gamble with me and I'll throw you the money. That's not an issue. Just come have cool conversations with me and just don't for the most part, it's not don't talk to me about business because he would clearly open the door for me to ask for mentorship.
Well,
but it was a different relationship.
I think that's why why I want to do this space too, because the space can be whatever you want from it. So if you're just there to, have fun, communicate, make music, you're in that part of the building, right? If you came here to do business, you're in the office space or on a podcast or in another room where you're having a meeting. And so you can get what you want from a space that encompasses, basically, it checks all the boxes for everything you would want to do with music, business, or marketing.
And I think it's going to be cool because we're obviously going to need a team to manage this place, but I think it's going to sell itself to a point where people are just going to want to be involved. People are just I'll facilitate I'll be we might even need someone there that's running the freaking front door. I don't know, but
one idea we had is literally hiring someone whose job is to literally just make the rent.
Oh yeah,
right. Your job is to monetize from XYZ pass, and you just have to create whatever $15,000 in revenue a month. So we can cover that, and then you get a free place to live plus whatever $4,000 a month salary or something. Right. And your job to have that is clear $20,000 because our overhead is 15. The rest covers your salary, and we're good. Right.
There it is.
Well, so I feel like starting, kind of wrapping this up. What do we need to do before the next episode that we come on? What do you guys think are the next steps? I think pitch deck.
I
couple pitch decks.
I
maybe?
think we need to start looking at places because the plan we put together needs to be in context of the space that we're going for.
Yeah, we should bring someone on next time who we think can help us with the space.
Yeah,
Real
I have a guy
maybe.
in mind, and that can just help us understand how to navigate the process of finding a place. I think that's the next part of the conversation. We have a clear idea of what we want. Now it's figuring out what are our options.
Yeah.
Right? Because once we know what our options are, we can use that to weigh in our decision. And I think building this place, it's an ever evolving journey. I think, you know, it might start off with a smaller place that encompasses the main things that we have to have, and then we build a foundation off of that, build a proof of concept, and use that to find an even better spot.
Agreed.
Right.
The question though is, do we have someone come on that's the real estate guy or gal, or do we have someone who is the investor gal or guy? Right.
I have someone in mind who does something similar to what we're trying to do and has already done it.
Right. He's done
I'm
a
gonna
content house?
I'm gonna reach out. He does like I don't know how to explain what he does, but he's like let me reach out to him, and if he's down to come on, then we can talk about that on the next episode.
Love
but
it.
Right.
Love it.
I think right now we either have to start looking at places ourselves or find someone that could help us navigate this.
100%.
Right now, who
100%.
that is, you know, we got to figure that out.
Who else in Vegas does a content house like that's successful?
It's not necessarily that they have a content house. That's one way for sure.
Well, yeah,
if you
I'm
have
just
that,
saying
either
those two
they have
places for
experience
sure.
with content houses or real estate in Las Vegas. I guess.
Right.
We have a minute.
Right.
48 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I
shit.
will say that I'm super surprised that nobody put an OnlyFans room on their list. But I'm really appreciative.
I mean,
that
I
you guys
have
are
a
all here.
blacklist.
I have an Only Toes account.
Only toes.
we
Did
need
you
a
get
feet
$111
shooting
$55 per toe.
Hey guys,
All
remember
right.
life is bittersweet and that it's all mental, and always choose happy.
Hey,
Let's
let's go.
Are we?
Love
Do
y'all.
we have an
Yes.
outro?
More than meets
What's
the
our
mic. Signing off
Peace.
Is that our name?
I don't know.
I guess
Love
it is.
you.
for right
Bye.
now.
Let's go.
Cool.
We out.